Well, let's take a moment and jump on the phones and start out by talking to our buddy Nate in Canada. Nate, what's on your mind tonight?
Hey, Chrissy. Hey, Christy. I just wanted your take on a perception that I kind of have from the outside looking in, because I'm not American. I'm Canadian, but a lot of our media is obviously strongly influenced by our neighbors to the south. So a lot of us tend to keep our thumb on that, even if it is just kind of like when you slow down to watch a car accident.
Look, fair. It's fair. It's what that's fair.
I'm sorry, but it's true. We love you, but it seemed to me like before 2016 that our American brothers and sisters were kind of on the good foot. Like it was still kind of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but it seemed like progress was being made and things were getting better. And then with the election of a certain orange blowhard, I want to know, like, to what extent do you think his brand of populist, homophobic, xenophobic garbage emboldened these other legislators and sort of brought it to the forefront and made it okay again to be a bigot? Do you think that he was just a tool, or do you think that he actually has, like, it seems like you're kind of spiraling down at this point, even after his administration has ended, And I'm curious if you think that he was more symptom or more cause.
Personally, I think there's sort of a feedback loop going on there. I mean, in the broad sense, he was absolutely a symptom and the culmination of the politics that the Christian right has been pursuing for decades. So for people who say, oh, Trump was just using those rubes, he was just using the Christian right for power, they have it exactly backwards. The Christian right was honestly using Trump more than he was using them. But I do think that his sort of just open, brash, rude bigotry did also have an effect on giving people permission to be more bigoted. But when we talk about these state laws, I think we also need to look back to what the Supreme Court did in 2015, which is to legalize same-sex marriage in the Obergefell case. So that galvanized a lot of opposition, galvanized a lot of evangelical colleges, for example, to apply for Title IX exemptions so that they could continue to get federal funding without following the sex discrimination rules that apply to secular institutions. And they were granted those exemptions even under the Obama administration. But I think right then, and a little bit before, I mean, you think back all the way back to Prop 8 in 2008 in California, right? So same-sex marriage and rights for LGBTQ people, especially gay and lesbian people and same-sex couples, we're making a lot of progress. And there's been backlash against that since that time. That has really ramped up since 2015. And I think Obergefell and just reaction against it had more to do with that than Trump himself, to be honest.
That's an interesting perspective. For someone like me in Canada, where we've had marriage equality since I think 2003, that was like a moment where I was like, yes, you're not broken after all. I believe in you guys. Howdy, neighbor. And I guess you're right, though. That's kind of it would have that galvanizing effect on those on the other side of the fence that are like, oh shit, we are losing this battle.
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm really glad that Obergefell was decided the way it was, and I cheered for it. Just because the other side is reacting with this kind of extreme, dangerous moral panic doesn't mean I think that we should have not decided it the way that it was decided, if that makes sense. I think it's very unfortunate that we have such powerful reactionaries, but again, they're not a majority of the population. They just manage to have disproportionate power, unfortunately, and be disproportionately loud.
Yeah, Nate, I don't know that we will ever be able to really quantify the chicken and the egg of Trumpism, where that came from. I do think that the man himself is is a singularity that is hard to see past. Right? There was a ESPN documentary about him that came out maybe 10 years ago, well before he was like a meaningful player on the political scene, that surprisingly showed him doing almost the exact same thing he did to America to a very small sports league. And it's fascinating to think about who he is as a person and how his cult of personality may have infected American politics. But I have to, in my own very limited perspective, kind of agree with Chrissy that on a person by person by person level, I can't help but feel like he's just the avatar, that his name and the not just the policies that he was pushing, but the like particular tone of discourse that he brought into the world was really just a opportunity for folks who had kind of been looking for the chance to say some of those words out in public anyway. I don't know how much he changed things so much as he was just sort of the inevitable result of those voices wanting to be heard and wanting to grab power.
And you know,
that's a good point.
Here's the thing: he may run again in 2020. He may get the nomination. He may 2020. Sorry, in 2024, he may get the nomination. He may even win. But even if he doesn't, what he embodied, I think, continues, right? And our Republican Party, which is pretty much an authoritarian party, will find another leader to rally around if they need to. Mm-hmm. Because this is what they want right now, and they're continuing down this dark path, if you will.
Yeah, that's a scary thought that hadn't occurred to me, that even if Trump is not nominated, that the person who is nominated is likely to be in that same mold, at least in terms of rhetoric. That's
where they live right now. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's going to change because of the way that, you know, the primaries and are structured, and the way that they've structured things since 2010 with all of the gerrymandering. I mean, the incentive is always just to go further and further to the right now to get the base on your side.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that Trump isn't even allowed to run again in 2024. I think there was like a federal circuit judge released like a 42-page briefing on the January 6th insurrection saying that Trump likely did commit a crime. So does that not disqualify him? I don't want to take us too far afield, but does that not disqualify him from running for office?
I'm not a legal expert.
Yeah. Two impeachments didn't do it. So
I mean, I do feel that America has a very, very, very poor record of holding presidents and even generally just people in their administrations, their advisors, accountable in any serious way, or any high-level elite political figure. War crimes, torture. Nobody from the Bush administration got in trouble for that. We just don't hold them accountable, and I'm afraid even Trump, as exceptional as he is in this regard, is probably not likely to be held accountable. Though I still really hope I'm wrong about that.
No,
I do too.
So thanks for checking in. Thanks for looking down south with a little bit of worry. You know, send flowers.
You can always come to me for doom and gloom.
I'll send flowers and beer. How about that?
Hey, we'll look forward to it. Thanks for being concerned.
Well, let's all look forward to the timeline where Trump is indicted, charged, locked away, and this leads to a pendulum swing back on the good foot and towards some actual good government and good legislation for y'all.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, and then this sex show can get back to hopping on the good foot and doing the bad thing. Like, we would like to not be talking about politics on, it's really getting in the way of our fucking conversations. So
it'd be fun to talk about sex instead of right-wing conservatives' attempts to police sex and gender.
Exactly. So thanks for checking in with us. Hope to catch up with you soon, friend.
All right, you guys take care. Enjoying the show. Thanks for your input.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah.